How does fear and pain relate to a corn addiction? Dr. Kathy Nickerson, thank you so much. I'm just so humbled that you tagged me to this comment and the trust that you're giving with me to share this with your followers. I'm really humbled by that and want to thank you. This is going to be a long presentation, so you might want to save this for later. I'm going to have all these slides in my bio if you want to go over them, but this is going to be quite a long video. So what does pain in your partner going through their corn addiction look like? As children, we experience trauma or very painful moments. Now, with children, this could be for a girl or a boy. It does not pertain just to men. Women are also corn addicts as well. We sometimes have parents that try to do the best that they can with the tools that they've been given, but can be emotionally negligent. They could have some abuse that they've passed down from generation to generation. And so as a child, we have really difficult emotions that we're processing, but if we don't have a parent that is emotionally stable, we don't learn how to comprehend these bigger and larger emotions. So some of these emotions might be shame, anger, abandonment, sadness, not feeling good enough, not being wanted, feelings not being validated, little to no reassurance or love. That could be name calling, like you're stupid, you're an idiot, dismissive communication, I'm done with you, rejection, get out of my sight, shaming, you've disgusted me, suppressing emotions, just get over it, and actual physical, verbal, emotional, or even spiritual abuse. So where does this child take this pain? Well, they usually dissociate by going into fantasy, and corn is a form of fantasy. So I like this image of this boy locking up his heart because he locks up his feelings. And if you think about a corn addict that you're with, their behavior sometimes is that of a 9-year-old or sometimes 15-year-old child, and the way that they are processing conflict and handling difficult situations. A lot of that is because they get addicted to corn and it actually starts to damage your brain. So these kids might feel avoidant, they get into addiction, impulsive, they're practicing dangerous activities, maybe sneaking around, rageful, negative self-talk, reactive behaviors. But at a young age, they learn my emotions aren't safe, I'm overwhelmed, I'm not happy, I can't make others happy, I'm a disappointment, I'm an embarrassment. So then we dissociate into the land of corn, and this makes us feel safe, protected, pleasured, validated, reassured. It's my best friend. Some men have even said it's like my therapist. It has a false connection of intimacy, and it makes you feel wanted and desired. And this is what is educating not just men, y'all, but children. 90% of children have seen corn by the age of 12 years old, and that statistic was done in 2017. So he meets you and he thinks this is all I need. I can put this down and never look at it again because you make him feel all the same feelings. However, marriage has conflict in it, or relationships do. And if we've not learned how to manage conflict at a young age, then we're not going to really know how to manage it when we're older. So, we can have just simple conflict in a marriage, pushing away, but then there's maybe dissociation, aggressive or passive behavior, coping mechanisms, anger problems, abuse, not speaking in each other's love languages, and lack of reassurance. So again, because of that avoidance with not even knowing how to handle conflict, he is triggered and says, I'm going to lock my heart right back up because of this and the cycle that started way before you ever met him. So this is where you fall into the trap of what I like to call the shame and betrayal pain vicious spin cycle. We have a discovery day, we have the betrayal for you and the shame for him, we have defense and denial, masking good behaviors, and relapse. So this might look like you've discovered something, instantly you feel betrayed and hurt. It puts you back into a spin cycle of PTSD. He starts to become either avoidant or very, very anxious, or sometimes even rageful because of the shame that he's feeling. A lot of these men say, like, why do you always bring up the past? Can't you just get over it? Kind of like dismissive communication. That can end up in defense and denial when you are trying to get them to understand how this is hurting you. And so it's like, okay, well, how do I just get this to go away? How can we get things to go back to the way that they were? And that's where masking good behavior comes in, because that's what he did as a child, or she did as a child. They masked good behavior very well by looking at their parents like, okay, what do I have to do to get out of this situation? Because we still, point A, do not know how to manage conflict. And I like what the Gottmans say, that marriages don't end because of conflict, they end because we don't know how to manage conflict. this inevitably will put them back into a relapse because there's no true work being done in the heart. There's nothing to go back and heal that inner trauma which started this in the first place. And so if you're not setting a boundary right here that they need to go get therapy and recovery, we end up back in the spin cycle over and over and over again. For you, the betrayal is going to validate these feelings in you. I'm not safe. I'm abandoned. No one will ever love me the way I deserve. Sorry, I'm typo. How could he do this to me? It makes me feel foolish, hurt, humiliated, manipulated, stupid, sad, self-disgust, and shattered. It makes him feel with the shame cycle, alone, it's all my fault, anxious, I can't do anything right, defeated, I don't belong, dirty, forsaken, insignificant, knocked down, powerless, scared, and self-disgust. Now, I know a lot of you are not going to like to hear this because you're like, he's a dirt bag and he deserves to suffer and die. But the reality is that when we sit down with couples and work on them with this, 9 out of 10 times when we ask the woman, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pain are you in? She's always going to say a 10. When we ask the men how much pain he's in, he says a 10 as well. And the reality is that you both are in pain and you're both trying to figure out how to connect with each other, but you can't figure it out. That's the work that we help couples with. The trauma of the betrayal validates these inner core beliefs that you've had for a long time. I'm not safe and love will always come with betrayal. I am abandoned and will always be left behind. No one will ever love me the way I deserve because I am not enough. I must be fundamentally flawed for him to have betrayed me, like I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not sexy enough, whatever it may be. I am a fool for trusting him and I will never be able to trust again. I am stupid for believing in him and the love we shared. I am sad, broken, and incapable of being whole again. For him, it validates I am unlovable because I wasn't good enough for my parents. No one will ever stick around because I am a failure. If I show who I really am, this is a big one, I'll just be hurt again. No one cares about me and I will always be alone. I have to hide my true self because I am dirty and shameful. I am broken and nothing I do will ever be enough. I am powerless to change my life and nothing will ever get better. I will always be abandoned because I am not worth keeping. It's just like what Dr. Kathy Nickerson says, that all this stems from emotional pain. An affair or even corn is a painkiller. It's a way to escape the reality that I'm in or to escape difficult emotions I may be feeling. A lot of times these men relapse when a big event happens, such as a new baby, buying a new home, getting a college degree, or you getting a college degree, getting a new job, getting fired from a new job. Every time I talk with a couple, a big event has occurred very close to Discovery Day. And that is because a lot of these men do not know how to process the pressure, the stress, the anxiety, distress, all these different emotions that they've never ever confronted, and sometimes, to be quite frank, can't even identify. They don't even know what it is they're feeling, because the minute it gets anywhere close to one of these difficult emotions, they relapse, because this is how they've been doing it for their whole lives. This is how they've been handling this. So it's really, really imperative that so you get out of that shame, pain, spin cycle, that you set very firm boundaries with them, that you make it very clear you cannot remain in the relationship unless they get recovery, that they get into therapy, and quite frankly, your therapy is just as important as their therapy. Teaches you how to set boundaries, how to find your own voice, how to detach your identity from theirs. How all those core beliefs, remember I talked about those, how to validate yourself so that you're not so emotionally dependent on your partner for validation and reassurance. And ultimately what we want to find is a place of security in ourselves and security in the relationship, which 1,000% is possible. My husband and I live this. My husband was a serial cheater, very big porn addict, and today he's 3 years sober. I'm healed, and for the first time in a long time, probably the last year I started feeling this way, I feel restored. Trust and intimacy has been rebuilt. In fact, our marriage is better than it was before. So there's hope on the other side.